everybody, Cinema Sickness here with this week's Weekly Watched. And the reason I'm bringing this to you so soon is because coming up is my Merry Movie Marathon, where I watch nothing but holiday-related titles from Thanksgiving to New Year's. Nothing but Thanksgiving titles, Christmas titles, New Year's titles, Hanukkah titles, Kwanzaa titles, you name it. If it has to do with the holidays coming up, I'm watching nothing but those movies. So that's why I wanted to get these non-holiday related titles out of the way, talk about them. So let's get down to it and take a look at what I checked out. So the first title I checked out this week was D.I., The Suburban Sessions 1983. Not a lot to say about this one. If you're a fan of D.I., which is a great 80s punk band, you're probably going to enjoy this. If you're not a fan of D.I., then you'll have absolutely no interest in this one. But all in all, it was pretty decent. If you are a fan of D.I., it is worth checking out, though nothing special. And that's because this is simply just a rehearsal, or at least what I'm assuming is a rehearsal session. That's it, just D.I. kind of jamming, practicing their songs, and that's about it. But of course, if you're a D.I. fan, you're going to enjoy listening to them play their songs live. It's pretty fun, it's pretty cool. Fun to hear them talk about their songs, just the things they say in between songs. It's pretty cool. It's basically just kind of like an inside look at D.I. just kind of jamming. That's really it. And that's pretty awesome. It's basically just them, one camera guy, and there's like two girls sitting there watching them play as well. So it is pretty interesting. They only play 10 songs, so it's not that long. In fact, this goes by really, really quickly. It's D.I. They're a bunch of, they play punk songs, very fast 80s punk songs, so they just barrel through them pretty quickly. So not a very long DVD, but it is worth checking out if you are a fan of D.I. Otherwise, nothing you really need to see. The downfall to this, though, is the exclusive interview footage that comes on here. It's not really much. It's just D.I. sitting in a circle, the guy with the camera is kind of talking to him, and they're joking, talking about stuff, but the downfall is you can't really hear him half the time because the audio cuts out. I guess the audio was really bad for that footage, but they put it on this disc anyway, so only about half the time you know what they're saying. The other half, the audio cuts completely out. Definitely a downfall. Would have liked to have actually heard what D.I. had to say about certain things. But besides that, it is pretty interesting. Definitely worth picking up if you are a D.I. fan. But again, it's nothing you necessarily need to have, so I'd recommend picking this up only if you come across it for a good price. But it was pretty cool, and I did enjoy watching it. The next title I checked out, oh man, was this ever good. Batman: The Dark Knight Returns Part 2. If you remember what I reviewed Part 1, I said it was awesome. A great movie, probably the best Batman movie I've ever seen. Well, Part 2 here kicked Part 1's ass. Part 1 was a great film. Absolutely brilliant. But Part 2, good Lord, was this ever fantastic. By far, the best Batman movie I've ever seen. I used to say that Batman Beyond Return of the Joker was the best Batman movie I've ever seen, and although I still really like it, and it's tough for me to say that's not my favorite anymore, this one is definitely better. It was absolutely amazing. This is not your kiddie Batman. This is not a Batman for children. This might be an animated movie, but this is not something for kids to watch. There are murders in here. Joker goes on a shooting spree. There's a scene with him at a fair, like a carnival, just shooting people. He's running through a crowd, just bam, 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 just taking people down. It's awesome. Not something I've really ever seen in a Batman movie. Just absolutely cool to see the Joker just going apeshit, killing people. I don't want to give things away. I was about to tell you what Batman does, but I don't want to do it. If you haven't seen this, I don't want to spoil it. It's so good. In fact, me telling you the Joker goes on a killing spree is a little bit of a spoiler alert. I don't know how to talk about this one. I don't want to ruin this. I don't want to spoil this one for you. I don't want to start talking about what happens in this film because it is so damn amazing. But all I'll say is, there you go. Joker on a killing spree. Batman versus Superman at one point. Cool twist ending. Just all in all, fantastic. This is the kind of Batman movie we need to see in live action. Don't get me wrong, the last three Batman films, they were great. They were fantastic. I was a big fan. But why do we not get this? Why is this not, why is this not live action? Why is Batman Year 1 should have been live action, then Batman Dark Knight Rises Part 1 and Part 2, they both should have been, I'm sorry, Dark Knight Returns Part 1 and Part 2, they both should have been live action films. I think somebody needs to do a new trilogy. I would love to see this on the big screen done in live action. Just, all the murder and mayhem shoved in it. I want to see that. But just amazing. I've never seen such a great Batman film. I would highly recommend this one. Obviously, check out Part 1 first. They do go together. It's a continuous story. Obviously, see part 1 if you haven't seen that yet. You must see it, but definitely watch both of these. They're great, and again, part 2 just destroys every other Batman movie you've ever seen. It is that amazing. So definitely check this out. If you're a Batman fan, comic book fan, I don't even care if you aren't a Batman fan or comic book fan, you gotta see this one. Then I checked out that title I've been really excited to see ever since it was in theaters because I had heard such good things about this, and that was ParaNorman, this year being the 3D version. Yes, I did watch it in 3D. It looked pretty good, though nothing you necessarily need to see in 3D, but it did look good. I would recommend it if you come across this for a good price. But ParaNorman, just in and of itself, you gotta see. It's great. Just a fantastic stop-motion movie. The stop-motion animation in this is done brilliantly. It's beautiful, just absolutely perfect. Gives movies like Nightmare Before Christmas a run for their money. It's done by the same people who did Coraline, and I think we all know Coraline looked great as well. So this was just fantastic. I love the story of ParaNorman, who sees these ghosts and nobody believes him, and once the shit starts hitting the fan, people start having to listen to him. It's really all about this. The whole story is kind of about how, like, people not listening to other people, you know. Basically adults not listening to kids. Kids, you know, they might have things to say. They might, you know, ParaNorman's seeing ghosts, but nobody believes him, but he really isn't. If his parents just kind of listened to him and believed him and took, you know, what he said seriously, maybe things wouldn't have been so bad. Of course, the main bad guy in this is this little girl, kind of had like, sort of similar issues. So really, really well done movie. I would definitely recommend this one. Now, the only negative thing I would say is the fact that I went into this one hearing that it gives like so many winks and nods to classic monster movies. It does. I will give it that. There are winks and nods in here, but it wasn't quite what I was expecting. I was thinking they were going to pay, you know, homage just out the ass to classic movies. And they don't quite go that far with it, which is maybe a good thing. Maybe if they went too much, you know, giving winks and nods, it would have seemed pretty stupid and would have been a little overkill. But I did go into it hearing that they did that a lot. They really didn't. It was just, you know, here and there winks and nods. But I love how the movie opens up with the horror. Norman's watching a horror movie. Really cool. They did a really, really good job of kind of remaking the look of a classic 80s horror movie. The music is what I love the most. The music in the very beginning when they're in the horror movie, perfect. Spot on 80s horror. So this was a great movie. I would definitely recommend it if you love stop-motion animation, if you love things like Coraline, if you just love really fun kind of creepy kids movies, this is one you gotta see. Next, I checked out Red State, which is another movie I definitely wanted to see, as I knew this was kind of a different sort of Kevin Smith movie, and that's why I really wanted to check it out. Love his comedies, but I wanted to see something a little bit different, see how he did. And I thought the movie was good. I can see why a lot of people didn't like this movie. It is a bit slow at times. It does do sort of a 180 where the beginning of it almost seems kind of like a horror film and then just goes like completely around and turns into something completely different. But it was an enjoyable film, I thought. And I watched the special features on here, and from what it seems like, Kevin Smith just really wanted to kind of like bash like those like uber super Christian people, the ones who basically go to like funerals and of gay people and say like, you know, faggots go to hell and you know, basically protest funerals and protest people coming back from the war and stuff. I mean, and not, you know, not nice ways, basically, you know, like saying that like all, you know, all veterans are going to hell and things like that. It's just a crazy uber super Christian complete nutcase people. I'm not saying all Christian people are crazy, but the people that are talking about in this movie are obviously psychopaths. So, you know, from what I could gather, Kevin Smith really wanted to just kind of like poke fun at them and kind of like, you know, make them the bad guys in this film. But I took it a little bit differently, because not only are the super uber Christian people bad guys in here, but the supposed good guys are the actual government stepping in to take care of this problem. They're bad guys as well. They don't do you know, they do some shady stuff as well. So the way I took it is kind of like, you know, I looked at it as kind of like Kevin Smith was trying to say, like, well, you have these super uber Christian people who are bad guys, but don't necessarily think the government who's coming to stop these people are necessarily good either. They're doing some shady shit as well. So I kind of saw it that way, kind of like two people kind of going against each other, but both groups in their own ways are sort of evil. Obviously, this can be compared to Waco, totally. I mean, a lot of people are comparing it to that, obviously. Very similar. There's this compound of, you know, radicalists, and the government's coming in, but, you know, it was kind of shady how they did it. There's a lot of gray area in this movie, but all in all, I thought it was fun. I did enjoy the fact that it kind of starts like a horror movie and then it turns into something else, which I liked, because Had it just been a horror movie all throughout, it might have gotten a little old. It would have been something I'd be like, all right, I've kind of seen something like this before. But the fact that it did a 180, kind of turned into a different movie, made me really enjoy it. But again, I see why people might not have liked this one so much, as there is a ton of dialogue. We have a lot of talking in this movie for long periods of time. Our like main bad guy, the minister, he just goes on talking for like 15 minutes at a time. There's really long speeches in here. But I enjoyed it, thought it was cool. I actually enjoy the speeches because it really makes the people seem like psychopaths. So all in all, I thought Red State was fun. It wasn't, anything amazing, but it was an enjoyable film. I really enjoyed the fact that it was something different from Kevin Smith. It was Kevin Smith kind of trying something different. I like that. So I would definitely recommend Red State. Again, it's nothing crazy, but it does sort of have that like cult, like a cult movie kind of feel. So I would recommend checking this one out. Then I checked out Futureworld, which I've wanted to see ever since I saw Westworld a few weeks ago. Really enjoyed Westworld. Thought it was a brilliant film. Could not recommend that film enough. Absolutely great. Futureworld, on the other hand, was alright. It was an okay sequel. I wouldn't say this movie's bad. It was enjoyable. I did like it, but would I say it quite lived up to Westworld? Not so much. There was a lot of weird things going on in this movie, and it just seemed a little bland, but all in all, it was a decent film. I'd say if you've seen Westworld, sure, check out Futureworld. But there are some weird things going on in this movie, like Yul Brynner's part of this movie. I mean, look, Yul Brynner, featured right there in the front, doesn't really play a part. His cameo in this movie is completely, it just feels thrown in. It's like they're like, all right, we want to bring Yul Brynner back. Let's just throw him in for like 2 minutes in this really weird, freaky scene. That's it. He just pops up and then leaves. You never see him again. So sort of weird little things like that happening all throughout the film. And like I said, all in all, it's just okay. It's basically about cloning, and of course the people behind Futureworld, the same people who were behind Westworld, are still bad guys doing bad things. So, like I said, it was just alright. It is a fun movie. Sure, I'd recommend checking it out, but definitely see Westworld first. Westworld is definitely a better movie, but the sequel, Futureworld, it was okay. Then I checked out a movie that I've been hearing about for years. Definitely a movie I wanted to see. I came across it about a month or so ago on VHS at a Salvation Army. I didn't pick it up. Why? I don't know. It was really stupid to me, but who cares? Because now I got it on DVD, and I had to watch it immediately, and that was Tapeheads. And this was a fun movie. Just a weird, wacky 80s film. If you love just crazy 80s movies, this is one you got to check out and add to your collection. So much fun from start to finish. I loved the hell of this. The story is kind of weird, all about these two guys who basically want to start this video company where they make music videos, and kind of how they have to go through all that mess, and they get involved with this guy who he's running for president, and he's trying to go after a videotape that they actually took that has some footage on it that he doesn't want to get out. Just a crazy film, just again, from start to finish, and it's a hell of a lot of fun. I can't recommend this movie enough if you just love wacky 80s films. John Cusack, Tim Robbins, just brilliant in this film. So again, the movie's a lot of fun, has a lot of cool music, a lot of cool scenes, just absolutely great. I can't say it enough, just fantastic. Fun, 80s, wacky film. This is one you gotta see. Then after Tapeheads, the next title I checked out was Tapeheads. Once again, only this time with commentary. Now that's not something I usually do. I don't usually watch a movie and then immediately watch it again with commentary. There are a few times I have done that with movies I really like. There are certain movies out there that I thought were just so damn good that are now some of my all-time favorite movies that I just immediately watched them again with commentary because I liked them that much. This movie, not so much. It was a great film. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I highly recommend this film. It's a fun, wacky 80s movie. But did I like it enough to say it's one of my all-time favorite movies now? Or, that I even enjoyed it that much that I wanted to watch the commentary again right away? No, not the case. The reason why I ended up listening to this commentary was for one reason. Mike Nesmith from The Monkees. He was the executive producer for this, and he is on the commentary. And I was just really interested in hearing what he had to say. So I wasn't necessarily planning on listening to the commentary all the way through. I just was, after the movie was over, I was doing some things around the library. I just popped the commentary on, figured I'd listen to the first few minutes of it, and then stop and then go off and do some more stuff. But before I know it, I'm sitting back down, listening to the commentary. It was actually decent and well done. Now, Mike Nesmith doesn't play a major part in the commentary, as he was only the executive producer. Certainly has some funny things to say, and certainly has some interesting things to say, but a lot of times it's when, let's see, who does the commentary on here? Bill Fishman, who was the director and Catherine Hardwicke, who was the production designer. Both of them know a lot about the film, what went on. They were there the whole time when the film was being made. So Mike Nesmith, a lot of times, is hearing stuff for the first time that went on during the process of making the movie. So, again, his part wasn't super strong in the commentary, but he was definitely there, and it was really cool to hear him talk, because, again, I'm just a big Monkees fan, and I just love hearing Mike Nesmith do anything. So just really cool to hear Mike Nesmith just in the commentary, and that's the whole reason why I even decided to listen to in the first place. And like I said, it was decent commentary. So I'm not saying it's commentary you need to sit down and listen to right away like I did, but if you have the DVD and you have some time to kill, it is definitely worth listening to the commentary. It was well done. If you like the film, it's worth hearing. And the last title I checked out this week was Roger Dodger. This was an alright movie, nothing special, but enjoyable, all about a nephew who comes to visit his ladies' man uncle. This uncle character, he's definitely good with the women, knows how to pick chicks up, pretty good when it comes to ladies, and his nephew wants him to teach him basically the tricks of the trade, how to pick up girls, how to get laid. He's a nerd he's still a virgin, not really good with the ladies, only 16 years old, still in high school, but wants to learn how to pick up chicks, and his uncle takes him under his wing and teaches him how to pick up ladies, and does a fairly decent job at it. But, you know, the uncle turns out to be kind of a bit of a creep in the sense that he knows what he's doing. He knows how to play people really well. In fact, he has a job basically doing that. He knows how to definitely play people, especially women. But he kind of does it sort of like in an asshole way. And in the end, he sort of, like, I don't want to say discovers himself or whatever, but he kind of builds up more of a conscience, I guess I could say. But what I like about it is it's not like he, you know, completely turns around. He's like, no, my life was a waste. I shouldn't be doing it. No, not really, but he does kind of like realize that maybe there are some more important things out there, like family, for instance. He hasn't talked to his sister in a really long time. He just starts to realize maybe there are some more important stuff out there than just getting laid. But I wasn't left with the impression that he gave up on it. Like he was, you know, over, you know, the whole getting laid every night thing. Not, you know, not necessarily. I think he just might learn how to budget his time better between, you know, friends and family, and of course getting laid and picking up chicks. So I like that. I like the fact that they didn't just make it like, you know, he became a saint all of a sudden. That would have been very typical and would have ruined the movie. But the fact that he does sort of, you know, grows a bit of a conscience, realize there's a little bit more to life than just getting laid, I enjoy that. So a fun movie, like I said, nothing special, but if you've been thinking about checking it out, I'd say it's worth seeing. Alright guys, so there you go, everything I checked out this week, and like I said, coming up is my Merry Movie Marathon, where I'm watching nothing but holiday titles. So really excited about that, a little over a month of nothing but holiday-related titles. Definitely fun. So my next weekly watch will be nothing but Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, again, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever titles. Very excited about that. So that's it, guys. And like I always say, if you like this video, please give me a like. If you're not already subbed, please do. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for my next video. See ya.